13.
Both guys trying to feel each other out now. Finding each other's range. Small foot maneuvers.
A couple leg kicks exchanged there. Each misses the mark.
Here the corner calling for them to get into their range, and oftentimes what happens in these MMA fights, because there's kicks and different things involved, it takes place at a much longer range than you anticipate, and here we are, we're in a pretty big cage too.
3 straight leg kicks there from Jaggar. Good right from Maxwell.
Maxwell wasn't going to eat a 4th leg kick in a row without being set up.
Maxwell gets him up against the cage here.
Not a bad entry by Maxwell, and it looks like Jaggar kind of sold out and fell to his back there.
Yeah, gave himself up pretty easily now, and Maxwell working to get better positioning here.
Makes you wonder whether or not he's a grappler. It didn't look like he pulled guard. It kind of looked like he tripped there, but now Maxwell working from a good top position, front headlock.
Working for that underhook, he's got it. There's the takedown.
Maxwell just not sure what's going on here.
He's pulled them up to a neutral position. I'm not quite sure the reasoning.
I'm not sure either. I guess somebody grabbed the cage, but
would have had to have been Maxwell there, you would think, in order to lose
position, right? And I don't know what Maxwell could have done. He was taking him off the cage, but here we go. We're back to the center of the
the body from Jaggar hits its mark.
Jaggar's doing a good job of extending these kicks, but I'd like to see him set them up first. You know, anytime you just wing a kick out there, especially when you're not checking your range, it's easy to counter him with a punch, and you know, dangerous game you play. Maxwell kind of returning fire. Nice takedown here by Mitchell Jaggar. Maxwell recovers guard.
Mitchell trying to work his way through the guard here, get an even better position.
What Mitchell needs to do here is posture up, create space so that he can strike by just holding and squeezing down. You're holding your opponent down, but there's no activity. And when you're on top, you're winning the fight. So if he's not going to do anything about it, then no harm, no foul. But I would like to see some activity here.
Well, there's a
nice
right hand.
And obviously, like we said, these guys are debuting, and anytime they're figuring it out there. So we might see these guys literally get better as the fight goes on.
You see Maxwell trying to land a little bit from his back there. Pretty equal first round right there. Looked like the first minute and a half goes Maxwell's way, and then Jaggar with the takedown and kind of controlling position there at the end, Matt.
Yeah, it was a good round, and I think Mitchell Jaggar kind of took it there at the end by ending on top, because anytime a round is close, the guy who's on top at the end, that's what sticks out to your mind, and that's really all I can think of at this point. But pretty competitive fight here.
But look, for these guys, getting in the ring, their first time making their debut right here. You can see it on your screen right there. It's their debut. I mean, now you get those jitters out, right? Round one's out of the way. You kind of know what your opponent's trying to do. That first fight feel is gone. Now it's time to get in there and really understand what's going to happen.
Yeah, let's see who's better, who's able to make the adjustments here. That's going to determine who wins this fight, because like we said, evenly matched fight. Both debutants, both had good moments in the first round. So let's see who makes those adjustments.
We are set for round 2.
Mitchell Jaggar coming out with those unset up kicks yet again. Let's see if Maxwell is able to counter. There, big right hand, nice and sharp.
Kind of like you mentioned, though, when he's throwing those body kicks, there's the right hand over the top from Maxwell.
Right hand
he's looking for it
over the top, and he's going to find it if Jaggar keeps on just extending these kicks. Again, if he would set him up with punches, it would create a diversion of some sort, so he couldn't just bite down and sit down. Yeah.
Well, kind of like what you just saw right there from Maxwell. He threw a punch into a leg kick. He's got the back now of Jaggar.
Jaggar doing a good job of just being strong there and kind of finding the single leg position, even though Marcus Maxwell looked like he was about to get Mitchell Jaggar's back.
It's a really great job right there by Jaggar not to give up the back and work his way out of that position. Now he's worked this into an advantageous position.
He's got his head side high over there, and he's kind of trying to pull this double leg off the cage. And he's scored. He's in a good position. What he needs to do is climb slowly. Oh, there he goes. Listen to his corner well. That's the benefit of being in such a quiet room, is you can hear everything these guys say. And listened, and now he's on the legs. Now he's in a good top position.
And, of course, normally the AK events, so loud, packed to the brim, but not as many people in attendance right now with the COVID guidelines.
Yeah, and we've seen the guys deal with it at the higher levels with these COVID guidelines and these crowds that are much smaller. And I think it's been interesting. It's made for better fights, right? That's what it's seemed like to me, at least.
Well, what a job by Jaggar here. He has really wrapped Maxwell up to this point.
Yeah, Maxwell doing his best to turn in, but Jaggar has a body triangle locked up, which is going to hold Maxwell in this position unless he finds a way to beat that body triangle somehow.
Going for the choke here is Jaggar.
It's going to be a tough one to finish from this position. Jaggar needs to square up with him a little bit. Maxwell's doing a good job of like keeping his shoulders flat. Now he's kind of in a position where he could get finished. He needs to be careful. See, that would have worked if the body triangle wasn't in such a tight spot. But Mitchell Jaggar doing a great job riding position here. Great corner work over here by Team 515, telling him exactly the right thing to do, asking for ear shots. The choke's not necessarily there. Marcus Maxwell doing a good job of defending, but if Mitchell Jaggar was able to just create a little distance, punch him in the ears a couple times, it would present opportunity to take that choke.
And it's all about scoring also in these spots.
And obviously, nice round by Mitchell Jaggar. He wins that round, but we'd like to see him accumulate damage. Good stuff, good positional round. Could be 1-1, could be 2-0. It's hard to say. That first round was really close. I've got a 2-0 Mitchell Jaggar.
I probably got it 2-0 as well. It's very close, though. Obviously, Jaggar just won that round. I don't think there's any way you can give that last round to Maxwell. So at the worst, if you're in this corner right here in front of us, which is Mitchell Jaggar, you're feeling pretty good going into round 3.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. Jaggar doing a good job, and like we said, who's going to make the adjustments? Who's going to do it? And Jaggar doing a good job of listening to his corner, making the adjustments, winning the positions, and ultimately winning that round.
And Matt, it is so valuable when you're making your debut to have a good corner behind you.
Absolutely.
Because you don't have all that experience to draw from like some of these professionals. These guys getting a great job from both their corners right now. You hear Team 515 right beside us calling things out right there for Mitchell Jaggar.
Yeah, and that's what's great, you know, Team 515, it's continuity. That's why they do such a good job. That's why they win fights, is because they've always been there training hard.
Jaggar looking a bit gassed, hands on his knees here to open up round 3. And look, you expend a lot of energy when you're down there grappling continually and wrestling.
Absolutely. Something to work on in the future, fix that posture. You know, your opponents are watching you, and it's body language is big, right?
Unless it's all a trick.
It could be. Hey, it looks like they're both as fresh as they were to start off. They're firing good activity to begin the round. Ooh, big right hand.
Uppercut.
Ooh. That big uppercut from Marcus Maxwell landed big.
Maxwell trying to finish here. He's got him up against the cage, throwing a flurry of shots. Jaggar doing his best to dunk him. There's a knee.
Maxwell needs to keep the range here. He's doing a good job of hitting him with hard shots, but anytime they get into these grappling exchanges, it just always seems like Mitchell Jaggar ends up on top. So if I'm Marcus Maxwell's corner, I'm yelling, stand up, disengage, get back to striking, because we saw right there, he almost had him out of there.
That was my very first thought is, hey, get this back to the feet if you're Marcus Maxwell.
And these things will come with more experience. You know, sometimes you have to have enough wherewithal to be like, okay, he's pushing into me, but I just need to disengage. It's a hard thing to do for a guy who's tough and wants to fight, but those are why we fight these amateur fights. Ooh, big punches still from the top for Marcus Maxwell.
Looks like there is some blood. He may have opened Jaggar up with one of those shots earlier. Some good body shots here.
Mitchell Jaggar just being relentless on this leg, but here we go. Marcus Maxwell ends up on top. Marcus Maxwell in a strong position. Looks like he's going to ride over into mount. Well, he's got...
About 75 seconds left here. Marcus Maxwell potentially looking for a finish.
And again, as Maxwell's corner, I would be yelling, punch, punch. Soften this guy up, make him want to get out of there, and at least score points, right? We're behind. We could even the round up here if we made it a 10-8 round, but we need damage.
We're about to see some of that damage coming right here.
He's winding it up. He wants it. Marcus Maxwell doing a good job right there. We need to disengage, disengage. Oh, big punches, big punches.
Maxwell, with 30 seconds left, trying to find the finish.
Maxwell's doing a good job of pushing into him again, but if it were me, I would want him to stand because we're tangled up here. The fight's kind of even, and Mitchell Jaggar's doing a good job of somewhat defending. On the feet, there's a big difference, it seems like. 17 seconds, and I know he wants it, and he's in there. He just wants to get it done, but
Jaggar hanging on here for dear life. Body shot lands for Maxwell.
Nice.
You see a little bit of everything here in the first fight. Stalemate in round 1. Jaggar definitively wins round 2. Maxwell wins round 3. I'm really curious to see what the judges do with this one. That was a heck of a fight to start us off here.
It was a great fight, and you know, for both guys making their debut, both of these guys are going to leave here better for this fight. So you really couldn't ask for anything more. Obviously, you want the win, but all in all, good performance by these guys.
Well, it looks like you have to be proud of yourself. You have Maxwell, who lands a bunch of big shots, shows in the 3rd round what he can really do. Jaggar in the 2nd, taking care of business on the ground. I think both fighters showed, hey, this is who I am, this is what I can do, and they'll be able to polish themselves up from their, debut right here.
Absolutely, and regardless of the outcome, neither of these guys have anything to hang their head about. Great fight.
That was not a loss for either of these guys. I know it's going to go down as an L for someone here, but man, what a great debut for both guys.
Awesome debut.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of mixed martial arts action, we are going to the judges' scorecard. Ladies and gentlemen, all 3 judges have seen and scored this fight the same way. Therefore, declaring your winner by unanimous decision. Fighting out of the red corner, Mitchell Jordan Jaggar.
Congratulations to Mitchell Jaggar. A great fight, and like we said before, I mean, good fight by both guys. Neither one of those guys lost tonight, you know.
In your debut, you go out there, you don't end up laying on the canvas, you know, like that's a win. You go out there and you show yourself off. A heck of a debut for Marcus Maxwell. Obviously, he's going to be disappointed with the end result, but man, he got in there and scrapped.